What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Historic Hot Laps. Start this one off a little sad. Do a moment for Robbie here. I want to take a moment to step away from the usual race recaps and share something a little somber with y'all, deeply affecting that happened last night, I guess 2 nights ago now, at Bowman Gray Stadium. Racing lost one of its own when veteran driver Robbie Brewer was involved in a serious crash during the sportsman's race. He was taken to a local hospital and tragically he passed away following the incident. This loss has cast a heavy shadow over the track and across the sport as a whole. Brewer wasn't just a competitor, he was a fierce, respected racer, known for his heart behind the wheel and grit on the track. Hearing that someone so dedicated has left us so suddenly pulls at every one of us in the community. Details are still emerging. Some eyewitnesses and fans suggest he may have suffered a medical event, possibly a heart attack, before the impact. Though this hasn't been officially confirmed, out of respect for his family, friends, and fellow racers, we'll let the medical professionals release clarity when they're ready. What matters most right now is honoring Robbie and standing with those he leaves behind. Bowman Gray is a tight-knit, fierce community, and losing one of their own like this really hits hard. He was more than a driver. He was family to them. To the Brewer family, his teammates, and everyone connected to him, please know that you're in countless hearts right now. Our thoughts are with you in this painfully difficult time. To the racing world, let's hold on tight to safe traditions we share. This tragedy, while rare, reminds us just how real these risks are and how precious every moment on the track is. Rest in peace, Mr. Robbie Brewer. You gave us all fierce drive to look up to, and your memory will carry on with every lap that we share. All right, talking about race recaps now. Let's go to Silver Crown, USAC Silver Crown Series at Salem. Let's talk about our favorite thing first, the old hot laps. Qualifying set the tone. Cody Swanson ripped a one-lap track record at Salem during qualifying at 15.809 seconds. A new record, a new mark, announcing early that he meant business there. Then we went to the 100-lap feature. Swanson started from the pole, didn't give up a single lap. 100 laps led from green to checker, earning him his 6th straight Silver Crown win at Salem. He's just dominates that track. Historic consistency for him. This wasn't your typical Salem race, though. It was the first 100-lap event in the 57-year history back in the day. The races were quite a bit shorter. That added fuel load changes, racecraft dynamics that challenged every driver from the drop of the green flag to the final lap. Final race results are top 5. Cody Swanson, Justin Grant, Dakota Armstrong rounding out the podium. CJ Leary in 4th and Nathan Bird in 5th. Swanson didn't just win, he basically crushed it. Cross track and time. Victory not only gives him his 3rd Silver Crown win of the year, but also tied himself sharply with the season momentum.
Like I said earlier, you race each other, but you race the racetrack, and even there to the end, you can't take any corners off just because it's too easy to make a mistake here. And so I'm so grateful we had a great car ride, and you mentioned the spotter. My wife does an amazing job. And she did tonight too, and so thankful for this Doran Banks Racing team, right? The opportunity to drive the 77. Kevin Doran leads us, but Dan Banks and Ken Kyles make it possible, along with Mission Foods and Glen Farms and Wilkie Orthodontics and Rosewood Machine and Tool. And I'm so grateful for our crew. We got Jason and Dave and my buddy Ryan Roberts come down and help us again tonight. And so much of the Doran family is part of this too, and I'm glad that they're able to be here to join in it with us. And what a special day.
From there, we go over to the Knoxville Nationals, break down everything that went at the 4th annual NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals, Knoxville Raceway, 4-day sprint car showdown, the granddaddy of them all, the sprint car version of the Daytona 500, as Tyler Courtney has recently said on another show. So Wednesday and Thursday qualifying nights, those first 2 nights set the stage: time trials, heats, C and B mains, and the nightly A mains. Points stacked up fast, and the top 16 drivers earned locked-in spots for Saturday's championship A main. Let me tell you, the cash is already rolling for each performance. Drivers are raking in the money in the heats for $150 a win, down to $50, and if you crack the A main those nights, that meant up to $12,000 for a win, $10K for second, $7K for third, and so on down the line. So pretty good purses for qualifying. Friday, the Hard Knocks night, ramping up the drama. David Gravel dominated the A main, winning from 4th on the grid. Right behind him was Michael Kofoid, a.k.a. Buddy, Cole Macedo, and Darren Pittman. Those 4 locked into the finale from that night alone. Saturday night, championship night, the big moment. 18-year-old Ryan Timms grabbed the spotlight. He started on the pole, led every single lap of the 50-lap A main to perfection, folks, and also the biggest payday of the weekend, $195,000 for the win. Not just a career-defining moment that This was history for him. Timms became the second youngest winner ever, the only driver whose first World of Outlaws win came at Knoxville Nationals. Rico Abreu finished second. He was also favored to win that race. David Gravel comes in third, Carson Macedo in fourth, rounding it out. So let's talk about the payout. Okay, for the qualifying nights for the A-Main winners. A-Main winners on Friday saw around 4,000. B and C Main carried their own scale. Saturday finale, we just talked about $195,000 to win. Sliding rewards behind that. Bottom line, if driver came in hot, worked consistently through all 4 days, they could have walked away with over $1.1 million in total potential earnings across the heats, prelims, and the big one. Ryan Timms' performance wasn't just a win, it was quite a statement. Real maturity behind the wheel at only 18 years old. The weekend was a high-stakes grind, and every lap counted. Every payout reflected the stakes, and that's what Knoxville's all about. And it's magic right there in Knoxville. So congrats to everybody who performed well there, and quite a showing. That place is usually sold out. So awesome show for the fans.
So much excitement, so much disbelief. This is awesome. I never thought I'd be standing here for the Knoxville Nationals. This is so awesome. Man, I don't even know what to say. It's so awesome. I want to thank all the fans. This makes it awesome. I've never been able to win in front of a crowd like this, so to be given this opportunity is amazing. And man, there's so many great people that got me here. I wouldn't ever be standing here without so many people.
Let's jump over to IndyCar Portland, starting out with the NXT Series Grand Prix of Portland. Who took the checkered flag? Well, it's Dennis Hauger, ripping through Portland International Raceway for his 6th win of the season. He pulled almost a full second ahead of Calais, 0.9353 seconds to be exact, locking it down in style. It did more than pad the stats when he won, though. It expanded his championship lead to a solid 54 points with just 2 rounds left. Milwaukee and Nashville, basically 1 full race worth of cushion ahead of a tight stretch coming up. Oh, and the cherry on top is he also clinched Rookie of the Year for all that. Talk about multiple goals. He's going to get Rookie of the Year. He's going to win the championship unless something catastrophic happens. I mean, the guy's unstoppable. So where's he going to go in IndyCar next year? That's what we need to be asking ourselves. But back to the race. Pole position, Calais led the field to green, hoping to hold that spot. Lap 1, turn 1, Calais and Miles Rowe took the brakes a little deep than expected. They ran wide. That opened the door for Hauger to shoot into the lead from 3rd, I believe. He never looked back from there. It was smooth sailing. Hauger managed his pace. He was pushed to pass smartly. Kept Calais just close enough for drama, but not for danger. Podium finish, Hauger, Calais, and Rowe. Pretty much top 3, also finished top 3. Caleb Hetch came in 4th, and Salvador de Alba came in 5th. Hauger's lead became seriously meaningful heading into the ovals, where pressure bites a little harder and opportunities get tighter for him. Momentum winning Portland, clinching Rookie of the Year, and now cruising into Milwaukee with confidence. Pretty solid championship fuel for him and that team, so congrats to them. This leads us over to the big boys there at IndyCar, the Bitnile Grand Prix of Portland. Drama, heartbreak, championship wrap-up all in one go. Will Power finally broke through for his first win of the season, charging his Team Penske car to the front mid-race and holding off Christian Lundgaard and Alex Palou on a technical traffic-filled track. And speaking of Palou, he also sealed the 2025 IndyCar Championship right there in Portland, his 4th title in 5 years, 3rd year in a row. Pato O'Ward's bad luck. Unfortunately, he had electrical failure forcing a long pit stop, put him somewhere like 10 laps down when it was all said and done. Gave Palou the margin he needed to wrap up the championship. So now we talk about a little bit of the on-track drama. Daly versus Rasmussen. Onto the fireworks. On lap 13, Rasmussen pushed Connor Daly off track in turn 7. Daly returned through the grass, tensions rising, bumping wheels. Then 1 lap later, the pair collided again, this time sending Daly hurtling into the tire barriers at turn 11. Rasmussen took responsibility for the first incident, blaming understeer and whatnot. Daly, unfiltered and unheated, called the actions inexcusable, accusing Rasmussen of reckless driving in a high-speed zone. He also mentioned something about how he almost wrecked Colton on the backstretch. Race control did absolutely nothing. No penalty for either driver, despite 3 collisions in 2 laps, and Daly's crash was spectacular and serious. Some fan comments online have already said absolutely insane that race control did nothing. They dropped the ball about as bad as it can be. I agree with them on that. Usable is a nice way of putting it, but Rasmussen up, and he's done it time and time again, and he's the Carson Hocevar of IndyCar, basically. He's not making any friends. He's getting some results, but when you're taking out half your competition to get those results, that's not real racing. So silence from the stewards here is part of the broken frustration that we've seen this season. where race control's actions feel inconsistent or non-existent at all. Incidents escalate from there. Let's dive into what both drivers thought their roles were in this incident with a couple comments from Rasmussen and Daly.
Yeah, I mean, just got hit by Christian like twice in 2 laps. It was kind of a shame. I saw him drive Colton almost into the wall in the back straight, and so that gave me an opportunity to pass Colton. And he was really slow, so just tried to make a move and, drove me off into 7, like so aggressively that I was like miles off the track, and he also went off the track. So when you try to drive someone off that aggressively, you kind of make a fool of yourself. And then had a huge run on him, easy enough, but he was never going to break. So again, just drove straight into my car and in a really dangerous corner, and that's how it worked out.
Then I had a little incident with Connor where I kind of touched him in 7. He's trying to roll my outside, and I just kind of understeered into him, that's on me. But which kind of took us both off the track. And then it was just kind of on recovery mode from there. We had a little bit of a slow pit stop, which I think put me like P24 after that caution. And then we just kind of fought our way back. Kind of found the pace on the red tire, which was positive. But obviously need to work on the blacks. But overall good day, good recovery. Could have been a lot worse. Sure, I'm open to have a conversation with him. I do think that when you try to roll the outside in a corner like turn 10, that's kind of what to be expected. I was on the inside. I had the inside line, so I wasn't going to pull out of it. So I wouldn't have done anything differently. I'm sorry to see Connor in the wall like that. That was a hard hit. I'm glad he's okay. But at the end of the day, I think that's kind of what you can expect in an incident like that. I haven't watched it on video, so maybe I'll change my mind, but that's kind of at least how I see it now.
Right, another good road course weekend for NASCAR at Watkins Glen. Starting off with the Truck Series was back on the historic road course for the Mission 176 at the Glen. It was pretty much a barn burner, as Truck Series races at the Glen usually are. Corey Heim, the guy, just keeps stacking up trophies. He took a win after a chaotic triple overtime finish. 6 wins this season, career win number 17 for the 23-year-old phenomenon. And that makes him the youngest driver to ever reach that mark in the Truck Series as well. The race itself was pretty much chaos. Late cautions, aggressive restarts, and more than a few moments where it looked like the field might not survive another lap. Heim led 44 laps, even battled through brake problems at one point, but every restart just found another gear. And the final green-white checker, he nailed it. So at the line, Daniel Hemrick was right there, just 0.2 seconds behind, followed by Gio Ruggiero in 3rd, Christopher Bell in 4th, and Tyler Ankrum in 5th. So let's talk about Bell for just a second. He was filling in for Stuart Friesen, who's still recovering from his injuries, and still brought that number 52 truck home in the top 5. So that's pretty clutch on his part. Championship implications from this: the win for Heim is huge. It locks him in even tighter in the regular season points. With the playoffs right around the corner, it means everyone else in the top 10 is basically chasing him into Richmond. More importantly, that gap he's opened makes it a nightmare scenario for anyone hoping to snatch the regular season title bonus points away from him. He's walking into the postseason with a pretty big cushion, so that's good to see for him. Bubble drivers, Watkins Glen was quite the brutal scene for them. Some late race incidents shuffled guys like Hayden Honeycutt and Matt Crafton further down as they needed to be, which means Richmond is now a must-perform race for a couple of the borderline contenders to make the playoff cutoff lines. Going to be absolute chaos next week, I'm sure. So last night was one of those races that had it all. Drama, strategy, door-to-door racing, big swings in the standings, and thanks to Corey Heim, the road to the championship just got a little more one-way. Congrats to him on that. Moving to the Xfinity race, the Mission 200 at the Glen. First off, Connor Zilisch, road course king, started on pole, led a race high of 60 of 82 laps, cruising through stage 2 with ease and keeping that JR Motorsports Camaro glued to the leader spot. Late in the game, things got a little wild. Austin Hill, back from a suspension, spun into Michael McDowell. And by spinning, I mean he hooked him. Typical Austin Hill fashion. Between turns 5 and 6, triggering a massive multi-car pileup. Pretty much chaos, just what makes these road course races so unpredictable. Despite the crash, Zilisch kept his cool. After the dust settled, he battled back to regain the lead and took the checkered flag. Sam Mayer finished 2nd, and Sammy Smith came in 3rd. Now, something that really sucks to talk about. Post-race, Zilisch climbs out to celebrate. He slipped, One foot got tangled in the window netting, and bam, he fell face first onto the pavement. Broadcast cut away pretty fast. Safety crews jumped into action. He was taken off on a backboard, loaded into an ambulance. He was alert and speaking. We do have some later updates confirming he suffered a broken collarbone, but thankfully no head injuries. CT scans came back clear. He was released from the hospital that evening. He missed the Cup race, but he was actually there in the paddock, talking to everybody, hanging out. He's already saying thanks for the support and promises a speedy recovery. That really screws things up, which the prediction of an announcement that he would be taking over that number 99 Trackhouse car. I believe we may still see that announcement this week. I could be wrong entirely after breaking a collarbone, but we'll just see what happens there. But summing it up, Zilich dominated the track, continues his win streak. Hill returns to be controversial and just wrecks the field in the final stages. Celebration went a little sideways for Zilich. Just a lot of memories from this one at the Glen. It's not just what happens on the track, but it's what keeps us talking afterwards. And yeah, let's hope Zilich heals fast and hits the track even stronger moving forward. That leads us to the Cup Series. Take a lap through what went down at Watkins Glen. I mean, really, SVG remains supreme. What else can you say? SVG did it again, made it look effortless, stormed across the finish line 11.1 seconds ahead, claiming his fourth straight Cup road course win of the season and tying Denny Hamlin for the most wins this year. That margin, pure dominance. Christopher Bell cut in for second, holding off Chris Buescher, who wrapped up in third. William Byron finished fourth, nailing down a regular season points lead, and Chase Briscoe came in fifth. Briscoe's really starting to come around with that JGR car, I'd tell you that. Stage 1 winner, Chris Buescher. Stage 2 winner, Ryan Blaney. A few spins peppered the race with a couple of locals, including one from Kyle Larson, who crashed early and was forced to the garage with brake issues. He ended up 39th and 15 laps down. Not good for his postseason points. Byron's solid fourth lets him walk away with 42-point lead over Chase Elliott for the regular season playoff, keeping playoff hopes looking healthy. SVG's win also vaulted him up in the playoff standings. He's in prime position heading into the final two races before the postseason. If he can keep his stuff clean, I'm sure he'll make that first round of 16 no problem, being the round of 12. For the playoffs, we'll just see what happens, but let's call it what it is. SVG might just be the greatest when it comes to road racing and Cup Series. I mean, he signed a multi-year deal this week also, the Trackhouse, cementing his future, and the force that'll be remaining to be seen for road courses from generations to come, I guess. I don't know. It's going to be pretty wild. So that pretty much wraps up our race recaps. Excited as we're getting closer and closer. We got a couple regular season races left for NASCAR. We're almost done with the season. We've got a doubleheader and then a finale for IndyCar. We already know the champion there. So, man, things are really, really heating up. This breaks us over into our news segment of the show. A couple topics to talk about. We didn't touch on this last week, but we definitely need to spend a little bit of time on it. Fox purchasing a stake in IndyCar. So the big news is Fox is buying a stake in IndyCar series, just not only broadcasting rights, but actual ownership. And yeah, it changes the game a little bit. Reactions have been all over the place. Some folks are hyped, others are skeptical, and honestly, both sides have a good point. So let's break it down real quick. The pros and cons of Fox getting into IndyCar's business. Here's the upside. Number one, exposure. Fox is a media powerhouse. They've got Fox Sports, FS1, giant Sunday NFL broadcasts. We saw the ads in the Super Bowl. If they start pushing IndyCar across all those channels, that's huge. Way more eyeballs, way more casual fans getting curious about racing, things like that. And it could be very good for the series as a whole. Fox knows how to package sports. Look what they've done with NASCAR, flashy graphics, storylines, pre-race shows, personalities, all that. If IndyCar gets that same treatment, it could finally shake that niche sport label that it's had for so many years at IndyCar. Also, this isn't just a broadcast deal. Fox owns a piece now, which means they're super invested in the success of IndyCar. They want the series to grow because now they have something to gain. That could mean better production, better storytelling, more consistent promotion, maybe even new sponsorships. And let's not forget the digital side. Streaming is everywhere now. If Fox moves IndyCar into that space in a smart manner, maybe a dedicated app like Formula One, behind-the-scenes content, maybe docuseries, they hook a younger audience that doesn't do cable. And that's what Formula One's bleeding dry right now, is everybody who didn't know it existed got the Drive to Survive during the COVID years and all that. And every year it's, doubling in popularity. So that's the good stuff. Let's get into the potential downsides because there are a few. First off, corporate control. When a media company owns part of the product it's covering, things can get a little murky. You've got to ask, are decisions being made to benefit the sport or just boost ratings? Could race formats get tweaked for TV drama? Could certain drivers or teams get more spotlight just because they play better on screen? And there's always a conflict of interest question. If something controversial happens, say a safety issue or politics or drama between drivers, will Fox cover it honestly, or will they protect their investment? We've seen some of this with NASCAR, the playoff series. As much as people think that NASCAR just made those decisions, the broadcast rights had a lot to do with going to this playoff structure that NASCAR now is debating if they're going to keep. So keep that in mind. But let's be real. IndyCar fans have been burned before. The fan base is loyal but cautious. They've seen messy splits, confusing schedules, lackluster media deals. Big non-racing company steps in. There's always going to be some hesitation, right? So that's understandable. So it leaves us with a big gamble. Fox could breathe new life into IndyCar, give it the spotlight it's been chasing for decades, and help it finally break through the mainstream, or it could start meddling with what makes the series special, chasing entertainment over racing. I don't know. Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the future of IndyCar just got a whole lot more interesting with this Fox deal. So stay tuned for more on that. The other big news story I want to talk about, the guy just ran the race. He won it. Best Penske of the year result, all of that, right? So let's talk about Will Power's seat for next season. It's flying way too far under the radar. Finally got a little bit of coverage this week, but Will Power still doesn't have a contract for next season as of right now recording this. Maybe after the win, stuff will get crazy this week. We'll see. But two-time IndyCar champion, 2018 Indy 500 winner, all-time polls leader, the guy who's been with Team Penske for over a decade, could be a free agent at the end of this year. Nobody's really talking about it enough, so let's dig into what that could mean. First of all, let's be clear. Will Power still has it. He's not washed up. He's not some guy hanging on too long. 2023 wasn't his best year, but even in a down season, he was still competitive. 2024, he comes back, he wins, 3 races. And this year, he's back in the hunt again. Still fast, still fiery, still that mix of raw speed and razor-sharp racecraft. Qualifies well. So the idea that he may not have a ride locked down for 2026 is pretty wild. Here's what we know. Team Penske hasn't announced anything. Power's deal is up at the end of the season. When he's been asked about it, he's been pretty honest. Says he wants to keep racing but hasn't signed anything yet. That's not nothing, right? So what's going on with it? Could be a few things. Maybe Penske's waiting to see how the rest of the season shakes out. Maybe they're eyeing a younger driver, or this feels more likely, maybe they're just trying to renegotiate, stretch the budget, or play the long game. You know how the pocketbook goes on these team dynamics. Loyalty's real, but it's also a business. The other thing to think about is Power's age. He's 44 years old. In IndyCar, that's not ancient, but it's also the point where teams start thinking long-term. They start asking if it's time to bring in the next generation. I'll reiterate back to Alexander Rossi at the start of this year, signing what's some 8 to 10 year deal with ECR and all that. And that's probably his last contract, and he admitted that straight up. So let me say this, though. If Penske lets Power walk, he's not retiring. There's no way. He's too competitive. He's too fired up. He'll land somewhere. And imagine the ripple effect if he hits the market. Teams like Arrow McLaren, Ray Hall, maybe even a smaller team looking for a boost. He's going to bring sponsorship. You can't be telling me they wouldn't jump at a chance to sign a guy with that resume, shake up the whole grid. And honestly, that would kind of be pretty fun. Not for Penske fans maybe, but for the sport, a veteran like Will Power jumping to a new team, that's good drama, that's good storyline, that's must-watch stuff. Flip side of this, maybe he stays put, maybe Penske signs him for 1 more year, maybe 2. Maybe they give him a send-off season with full honors, let him retire on his own terms, because if anyone's earned that, it's definitely been Will Power. Bottom line, his future is totally up in the air right now. That makes it one of the most intriguing storylines in the paddock. So you're not paying attention to it yet. Now's the time. What does this mean for his future? Totally up in the air. We'll play it out. If he doesn't sign with Penske, where does he go? There's a couple of options that are realistic. And then there's a few wild cards. Big ones are Arrow McLaren. They've got money. They've got ambition. They're not afraid to shake things up. They've already poached big names before with Rosenquist, Rossi, those kind of guys. So it wouldn't be shocking if they made the move. Imagine Power paired with Pato Award or something along those lines. That's pretty spicy, right? So second option, Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan. They're rebuilding. Power could be the veteran anchor that they're missing. Graham Ray Hall is still holding it down, but Power brings a whole nother level of race IQ and setup knowledge. It could be a good fit to push towards development for that team. Third one that could be interesting, how about Andretti? Hear me out. They've had talent, but results have been inconsistent. If they want a steady hand to guide the ship, Power could be the stabilizer. And the idea of Will Power and Colton Herta on the same team, that's entertainment. Now, there's nowhere for him to go on that team currently, so that is the issue now that we know that Ericsson is going to stay for 2026, supposedly. So let's throw a wild card in here. Smaller team with big ambition like Jukos Hollinger. They've been making moves. They wanted to leap forward instantly, grabbing a proven winner like Will Power would be the one way to do it. High risk and high reward. But all that being said, I still think Penske's the front runner. I'm sure we'll probably see a contract extension, something along those lines. They've got history, legacy, comfort. It's home for him. It's home for Penske. He's the best performing Penske car this year. But if they don't lock him down soon, someone else is going to start talking to him. That's all I'm saying. So we'll see how that goes. And we hear something, we'll definitely let y'all know. And finally, let's close this thing off with some history. This one's not going to be real long, but I'll talk about a team that had some impact in the sport, Beck Motorsports. They're going to be in our spotlight today. Scrappy IndyCar team that punched well above its weight class in the late 1990s and 2000s. Surprising podiums, international partnership. Beck's story is a winding road of reinvention, underdog hustle. So let's talk about it. The journey began in 1995 when Greg Beck's team entered its first Indianapolis 500 with Japanese driver Hideshi Matsuda, who secured a respectable 15th place finish. In 1996, with the birth of the IRL, the Indy Racing League, stepped up to a full-time car with veteran driver Robbie Buell, delivering early fireworks, finishing third in the inaugural IRL race at Walt Disney World, and placing third in the championship standings. Robbie Buell, awesome driver. I really enjoyed watching him growing up. Matsuda also returned that year, impressively scoring in 8th place in Indy 500. And in his second run for Beck, post-1996, Beck Motorsports faced some struggles. Underpowered Infinity engines and qualifying challenges came into play. The team made a strategic shift in 2001, entering a partnership with Curb Performance Group. That brought slicker resources, better engines, and veteran pilot Billy Boat, who delivered 4 top 5 finishes, including a runner-up finish at Nashville, ultimately landing 4th in the season's point standings. From 2003 onward, Beck expanded its international ties with a deal for Shinji Nakano and Dallara Honda effort at Motegi, thanks to sponsorship backing linked to Honda and Japanese circuits. By the mid-2000s, the team evolved through various name changes. They went to Curb Beck Motorsports, later rebranded Team Leader Motorsports, and eventually Curb 3G Racing in 2009. Drivers include PJ Jones, Alex Barron, Robbie McGee, Shinji Nakano, and Stephen Gregory. So across roughly 51 races, 1 in kart, 50 in the IRL, they logged just 2 podium finishes, Buells at Walt Disney World and Boats at Nashville. Let's zoom in on some other figures. Indianapolis 500 debut, 95. We talked about Matsuda finishing 15th in that one. Their first podium, first race at the IRL, Robbie Buell. 3rd place at Disney World, 3rd overall in the standings that season. Best season performance overall, 4 top 5s by Billy Boat, 2nd at Nashville. They're not dominant stats by any means, but for a small team, they did carve out moments of real impact. Behind those numbers lie a lot of good stories. Robbie Buell's 1996 run was a rookie-era shocker, pushing to the front amid league uncertainty of the team and the equipment. Billy Boat, the star of USAC and midget racing, brought legitimacy and speed, nearly adding a win or two for Beck. Beck's Motegi entry with Nakano and Honda underscored a smart international outreach and arguably a bold bid to stay relevant. Despite resource gaps, Beck punched above its weight class through partnerships, strategic hires, and race day grit. Beck Motorsports may not have racked up championship banners, but it's a story of pure racing hustle from 95 through the 2000s. They rode the shifting tides of IRL, embraced global partnerships, and made every entry count. That's really what motorsports is about. Unlikely contenders, unexpected moments, and drive that propels the speed and the spirits. Can't say enough about the impact that they had overall for the sport, for their short time there. This was a quick history one, but we had to touch on them. And Billy Boat became a favorite, especially going over to AJ Foyt. I mean, we'll talk about that later on and profile him as a whole. And same with Robbie Buell. We'll definitely do all these drivers at some point if we do this podcast long enough. That being said, please like, share, subscribe. Share it with a friend if you got somebody who likes motorsports. This is all fan-based stuff. This is all out-of-pocket weekly show. And yeah, other than that, we appreciate the likes, the follows, any comments, all that good stuff. We're getting a little more of that every day. Until we see you next time, stay safe, and thanks for tuning in.